And so now you're staying busy with your cleaning business and your family and friends. You brought us a magazine. What is in it?
Well, the other day I was at my brother's, and his wife, Denise Pugh, happened to share with me a magazine that had just come to her as a complimentary because she had written an article, and at the very bottom you'll say, plus in this issue, tips from a master gardener. And she's a master gardener, and she had a lot of information to share. I learned a lot from reading this article, but it's not only the article about growing things, which it is also, but it's about also your relationship with God and planting good seeds with your life, and that she has done. And when she wrote this article, they published it, and now it's in March, this month's issue of Mature Living. And it's about let me show you the title. I want y'all to see in case you end up with one of these magazines or somebody gives you a magazine. It's A Time to Blossom is the article.
That's so pretty.
I know.
Is that her yard?
No, I don't,
okay.
I don't know where they got that, but that looks like moss to me. So I'm not a gardener, but I think I'm going to join the master gardeners. I've decided those people are so good. The people who are master gardeners, they're so sweet and so good. I've discovered just in the last couple of weeks how precious they are. But I asked her about what's that on your yard, moss on your yard. I asked her about that. I said, do you like moss? Because I was kind of like, it's growing in my yard, and I kind of like it because the further it gets up this steep hill, the closer we do not have to mow.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of getting in a good position. I asked, well, what do you think about moss on a yard? She said, oh, that's God's carpet. She said, I love moss on a yard. And I noticed that she had a lot in her yard. And I kind of feel that she's thinking the same thing. They have a lot of trees around that moss, and it's probably good that the moss is growing. So I just wanted to share that. I have discovered that moss is really as good as I thought it was going to be. And you can feed the moss with buttermilk. I did find that out. So you can put it in a sprayer and spray the moss and spray above where it's growing, and it will make it thrive.
Wow, that's an interesting tip.
I know, and it was for me too.
Yeah.
I've been saving all my buttermilk. I mean, not saving it. I'm going, okay, I'll use this for for cornbread. But I think the rest of it, I'll just feed the yard. So.
And you were talking about tomatoes earlier, putting them in pots and needing 3 things.
I have always, this is how little I know about gardening. When they had the women's big sale out at the fairgrounds, they do it once a year, and I'm not sure if they did one last year, but they always sold things. And one man came in with a frame, and in the frame he had 3 big pots in the front and 3 big pots in the back. And they're for people who put big pots in it that comes with the frame that you pay for. But you put your dirt in there, and then you grow tomatoes, and it has a wall cut up in the middle of wire where you kind of can tie your tomato plants as they grow really big.
Right.
But mine just never grew big. Mine even didn't grow good tomatoes. I mean, they'd have rot on the bottom and things like that. So it was just, every year I was determined I'd go down to Pontotoc or somewhere to the Amish and buy their tomato little plants. Nothing, theirs would thrive, mine would look like sand. Then I found out from her in this article that there are 3 things your soil needs, and I'd have to look it up to tell you what they need, but it's number 1, good potting soil, which that's what I put in, good potting soil, and I was so happy. Now my mother, and it mentions her going out to the woods before they had all this potting soil to buy, back in the day when I was younger, they would go out and get wood dirt, and the wood dirt would smell like you're in the woods, and it really had everything that all the organisms, and I think that's the word she used in here, but everything that would make plants thrive is what you try, and the three things you put in the pot, besides potting soil, the other two things, do the same thing as if you'd gone out to the woods and found a really good pile of wood dirt.
Right.
Well, just recently, she went over to have her chemo run, and she found out this particular chemo was one that was treating a viral infection from last year. And each year they kind of had to update, make sure she would do that chemo, and she couldn't take it because there's fluid on her lungs. And they did a PET scan and found out that it was cancer that went back to when she had breast cancer 10 years ago, and it was a fast-moving cancer.
So if you know Miss Denise and you want to get in touch with her, I'm sure she would love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm. Those cards and all the sweet things. New Albany is just heaven. Everybody seems like they're heaven bound here because they've done so much for her, and that's one thing that she can actually say, that everybody's taking good care of her.
And you were talking about the master gardeners earlier, doing yard work for her.
Yes.
So that was pretty neat.
They've come out and planted her daffodils, and she had hundreds of those. They've got a group coming to do her yard and make it something to watch while, you're in your bed watching from your porch or from your bedroom.
Right.